I miss seeing you guys. I miss seeing you guys. I'm glad to be here.
Good seeing you, Melissa.
You know what, Shireen? I think we've anyway. We'll get to that. I think we've emailed back and forth before about other stuff about the ferry, but that's neither here nor there. Hi, I'm Anthony Marino. Welcome to Traffic and Transportation for tonight, October. I believe today is the 25th of 2021. We have an informational meeting tonight, and we're going to start with Melissa Farley from the MTA, who will her and her team have a presentation for us. So I'm just going to hand it right over to you, Melissa.
Hi, everybody. So with me tonight, as I mentioned before, is Dika Michael, who is from our operations planning group, bus planning, and Annalie Boljonas, who is our general superintendent for what we call Staten Island Road operations. And one of the issues that we hear tonight, we don't have a big presentation. It's just a discussion we wanted to bring to the board. We're looking to go to DOT to request some additional layover space for the S93 on 4th Avenue between 87th and 88th Street. As you know, we have some space there. It fits about one bus on the corner by the fruit stand. And as you also know, we get a lot of backup of buses trying to pull in. That route has been such a popular route. We can go through those numbers. I think, so that's why we're here tonight. We wanted to just let you guys know what we're moving forward with, get some input, or hear any of your concerns, answer any questions about it. And I think if Dika is able to join, we have a little drawing of the area.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Hi, Dika.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey guys, I'm gonna try to share my screen real quick. Here we go. Let's see, is that what I want to share? Is this working? Share. Hold on, I'm coming.
I don't know. So close.
Wait, months. Where'd it go? Wait, here we go. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So as Melissa mentioned, hi, my name is Dika, and I am the Staten Island planner, New York City Transit. As Melissa mentioned, we wanted to discuss with you guys our intention to request additional layover space from DOT for the S93. So currently on 4th Avenue between 86th and 88th Street, and looking at the full stretch, we have the S52 that currently lays over on 4th between 86th and 87th, and that's for the full block. We have the S79 SBS, also on 4th Avenue between 86th and 87th Street. And then we have the B1 that's on 87th Street near 4th Avenue. And finally, we have the S93 that takes up only one bus space length on 4th Avenue between 87th and 88th Street. So just to kind of highlight the area that we're looking at, it's basically in front of the existing layover space for the S93. And what we would be requesting from DOT is approximately 60 feet of space. That would give us enough space to accommodate one additional bus with enough space in front and behind to safely pull out. And just to kind of bring some numbers to you guys so you understand why we need this additional space. Since 2017, we have increased the number of buses that pull out, or number of trips from 4th Avenue and 87th Street by 34. And the number of trips that's between 2017 and 2021. And then also from College of Staten Island going into Brooklyn, we've increased the number of trips by 28 trips. So it's a very popular route. It's a heavily used route. And so in order to accommodate that, we've added more service, but now we need additional space to accommodate those extra buses. And then finally, just so that you can better understand the space that we're asking for, this here is the current layover space for the S93. It's right in front of the vegetable market. And as you can see, it's long enough for one bus. what we would be asking for is this area here. We would not go beyond the city MD. Currently, we have a fire hydrant here, so no one is currently able to park 15 feet from this fire hydrant, and we would just occupy this space here. Are there any questions?
I do. I have a question. This is Diane Gennardis speaking. You know, I travel this route a lot in the morning and in the afternoon. And I am just wondering, why is it that these buses have to come to 86th Street and they cannot be rerouted to end up at 95th Street? This is one of the most dangerous spots in the morning, especially. Is from 86th Street to 87th Street, which I know is not the route that you're speaking about right now. Those buses turn and they take up both lanes of traffic so that anybody traveling towards 87th Street has to go into an oncoming lane. And I've seen a number of buses, the 79, you know, as well, double parking. And it just creates a very, very dangerous traffic situation there. I don't understand why these buses must be routed to 86th Street and they cannot be routed to 95th Street, which is the start of the line. And it would make much more sense for people to get on the line there. We don't, you know, you're talking about College of Staten Island, et cetera. So it's not about people coming to do shopping on 86th Street. You're talking about people who need to access the subway. And I am absolutely opposed to having additional space allocated there because it's just buses upon buses upon buses, parking and you know, double parking. In addition, you have stores there that rely on people being able to park to go in and get a cup of coffee, et cetera. And so you're taking away all of that ability. They've already taken away the ability in front of D&D. They're using all of that area as well for buses. I think that it's, you know, it's become a bus depot and nothing more. So I'm opposed to it.
I have a concern. I understand your concerns, Diane, but I have a concern about 95th Street because at 95th Street, it is the layover for the B8 bus and a bus stop for the B63. So there isn't any room at 95th Street.
Well, there's no room over here either.
Making room.
Okay, if I could just, hi, it's Melissa. I can't see if I have my camera on. I do.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry.
You're good.
So two things. We have looked in the past about bringing the Staten Island buses to 95th Street. And as Doris mentioned, we do have an issue with Brooklyn buses that are always there. And there we were looking at, there's that triangle there and trying to move things around. One of the other things that we wanted to talk about after this was just a general one of these issues about what the board thought. We know that you guys have concerns about how popular 86th Street and 4th Avenue has become, especially with the elevator there now. And what are the possibilities to, you know, redistribute bus service in that area. So that's, you know, a general discussion we can have after this one. So we have looked at 95th Street. We can go back and look at it, but it was a big lift for us when we looked at it once before. Also with the elevator at 86th Street, it makes it's a more popular for intermodal transfers for people to be able to get off the bus, or all of the buses, not just the Brooklyn bus, and the Staten Island bus to make that transfer to an accessible station and make their trip. So we still would want to keep that connection there, but we would go back to we can go back and look at 95th Street again. I just don't know. That would have to be a more longer term plan that we would have to look at, because we would be looking at how we would have to, you know, bring those buses in, where we could lay them over, that kind of thing. So, but we will take this.
Have you done a study on the way the buses are piling up between 86th Street and 88th Street? Have you looked at the number of buses that are double parked? We only have one lane of traffic. on either side because of the buses taking up one lane and because of the elevator and the buses taking up the opposite lane. So there's one lane of traffic, either direction. And when the buses are double parked there, it's an accident waiting.
Right. It is. We are aware of the situation there. That's one of the reasons why we're looking for some extra space for the S93. And we would go to DOT. They would, of course, let us know. That's why we wanted to come to you guys and let you know what our proposal is. And then because DOT will ask us if we had come to the community board. So there's that. So yes, we are aware of that. And we're hoping that some of that, being able to bring those S93s and curb them in there, that'll alleviate some of that backing up around the corner. I mean, and Hanali, if wants to jump in because she's on road operations, but one of our issues is we don't always have control of the traffic. So sometimes what we see is bus bunching, like when something's happening on the bridge and traffic gets backed up and then all of our buses are coming at once. So we do try to space them out and schedule them. But yes, we are aware that there is an issue where they are backing up and not able to curb, at that area when there's, especially during the rush hours. We see that a lot during the rush hours. So that's one reason we're hoping that if we can get a little space for the 93, at least even if it's the rush periods, that we can alleviate some of that backup and the buses blocking the intersection or the street. So we're trying to work on that. And I just want to point out that it's not just, we get a lot of people coming in from Staten Island to Brooklyn. The bus runs, the bus from Staten Island starts about 6:30 in the morning and comes to Brooklyn, so it is going both ways. It's not just, people coming to the College of Staten Island. We also have a big flow of passenger traffic going to Brooklyn all day. The routes it went from 3 hours a day in the morning and night to now running till the last bus leaves Staten Island actually at 10:35 p.m. So it is a very popular route. But we certainly will bring, take into consideration your concerns about that traffic in the area.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi,
I don't know if you can hear me, Josephine.
Yes.
I live on 94th, and between 94th and 95th, I have to agree with Zara spoke before. There is no room for another bus layover there. With the two buses that are there at times, if you get off the 63, it's double parked actually to get to the curb. There's no room there for another bus.
So it's the same situation everywhere.
Question?
So, but I don't think over here, and it's too narrow to have more backup.
All right, Larry Stelter, you have a question?
Yeah, as I said, the bus does not run on weekends. It's strictly a weekday operation.
Yes, right now it's just 5 days, a
And how
weekday
many years
operation.
ago was it start out? You mentioned it was 3
It
hours.
starts at about from Staten Island to Brooklyn. It starts at 5:45, and the last bus leaves Staten Island at about 9:30, and then from Brooklyn to College of Staten Island, the first bus is about 6:30, and the last bus to Staten Island is at 10:34.
Oh.
So it's increased. We've increased the span of service. We went to midday, so it is a very popular route in both directions.
As I recall, it was originally meant to go to the college. Now it's also for feed as a subway feed. Feeds the subway.
Right. It was a route that started. Yes, we had that request. We saw a lot of people transferring from the subway in Brooklyn and to the S53. So we made that's when we instituted the S93. Larry, I can't remember what year it was.
No,
So it started as that. And in the beginning, it was a CSI feeder there because there were so many people, but it has gained in popularity in the other direction of people in the morning going from Staten Island into Brooklyn, either to get the train or they work, some people I know get the B1 and they go to work somewhere else in Brooklyn. So it's become a very popular route.
Rubber tide extension of the R train. So but what is the space that's going to be taken up? You have earmarked for the new bus location. Is it near it's north of the fire hydrant? in front of the medical center. What is that? What are the regulations now at that parking space?
Right now, it's regular metered parking.
It is metered.
Mhm.
I was just looking for the meter. Where was the meter? I didn't see it in the photograph. It's further down the block, or
Yeah, further down.
actually okay. Meter.
This is probably a what, like maybe three parking spots, maybe.
Yeah, 60
Should we-
feet's about, I
60
would say
feet, right?
3.
Like
Yeah, I'd say 3
three.
car lengths.
Yeah, so right now, the parking regulations, as you mentioned, are, it's metered parking from 8 AM to 7 PM, except Sundays, it's 2-hour metered parking. And because of the fire hydrant, it actually limits the number of cars that can actually park there. So the space that we're asking for would include some bit of the fire hydrant space. So technically, you would only be able to fit at best 2 vehicles, even though the distance that we're asking for would be enough space for 3 cars.
Gotcha.
And the buses would stop at the fire hydrants. That
It should be
Bus
15 feet before.
Yeah.
I think that's what was.
now also, as recall, there was some. Does the 93 come down 86th Street, make a left turn, or does it go that way? The B1 goes on 87th Street, and makes the left turn at 87th. Is there a consideration putting the bus stop on 87th Street instead? Or you have the layover for the B1? That's more.
Right now, 87th Street is the layover for the B1. But Larry, I think you're speaking about, there was some time ago before the elevator was installed, that the committee, and it's prior, when Jane was the chair of the committee had discussed the feasibility of bringing to the MTA the possibility of moving the B1 layover to the Mocha side of 86th Street as a layover there. And then if there was a way to move the 93. And then the world changed with COVID, and the elevators now installed. I think that's something that the committee, the situation on 87th Street has changed a bit with Century being closed right now. So we're not getting those complaints about truck parking, loading and unloading that blocks sometimes the B1 that prevented the bus from laying over and laying over on 86th Street. So we did have a general conversation in the past about that, but a lot of those conditions don't really exist right now.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments for our, yep, Carmen?
Oh, can you hear
No,
me?
you're good. Yeah, you're good.
Last year I wound up going to that medical facility. I had some chest pain and they had to call an ambulance, but before the ambulance got there, a fire truck got there. And when they brought me out on the gurney, the fire truck was still there and it stopped traffic on both sides. So I don't know how often they may have medical emergencies there where they have to call an ambulance. But if the fire truck comes, it's going to shut everything down.
That is, I wonder if we could get an idea of from that facility on how often
that happens.
No, that is something I didn't think of that. Of course, when there's a
I was just amazed at how quick both sides became like paralyzed until the ambulance moved in the fire truck.
Right. Yeah, that would be something with the bus potentially there.
I wonder if MTA had checked in with City MD on this. Melissa, I don't know if that was something. And, thank you again, Carmen, for bringing up that point, because, blocking a medical facility could be potentially, dangerous, of course, for the patient. And so we wouldn't want to do anything that would jeopardize the health and safety of the community. Additionally, I was going to mention, as Josephine had, that in our committee work, Larry had come up with a lot of really, innovative suggestions through the years about using the corridor streets, including even 86th Street, 87th Street as layover areas. Larry, I think at one time you had a whole route planned out that they could try. and just in kind of offering that we wouldn't be taking an already congested location and making it even more congested. And I think that's some of the feedback that we've heard tonight from the committee members.
I would also like to note in discussing 95th Street, that bus, it's right in front of the library, which is a busy location. It is 2 blocks from PS 104 and 2 blocks from St. Pat's. So you have a lot of young children crossing there, and to add additional bus traffic there could be very problematic.
We could also mention that PS 264 is actually located on 89th Street.
Right,
And
right.
so is the annex at 89th Street, and PS 104, which is PSIS 104, is located right up the street. And we also on 89th Street, and we have the proposal that's on deck for the new school space that was also going to be on around 88th Street, across from the post office, I believe, where it's due to be the site of a new school location. I don't recall exactly when the opening is. Diane, maybe you recall, or Josephine.
I don't think we've gotten that far. They were just,
Right.
get to our attention.
Right. So we do want to make sure that the safety of all the community members, besides the shoppers going to 86th Street and all, we want to make sure that the families are able to move safely as well. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so I would say we're going to go put our proposal into DOT. And as you guys know, what happens with the S79, they'll go out and they'll do their assessment and come back to us, let us know, what their determination is. So we can come back to you on that. DOT may contact the community board about it. So, we're very, we're safety oriented. We don't, we're not out, buses are not out to hurt anybody or do anything, we're in traffic too. So we'll certainly keep all of that in mind. We do have a dispatcher at the area that would be monitoring the buses, and they try to do their best to evenly space them and make sure that they get into the curb and move on. So we will certainly keep all of that in mind. And then if Larry and Josephine, if you want to, I don't know if you want to have other discussion about the bus, or if we covered all of, like the B1, if you guys can send over those suggestions. Unfortunately, our Brooklyn planner was unable to attend, but I want to give him the suggestions from the community board about that for 95th Street, any of the suggestions Larry had. I just want to say that trying to go on some of those other streets, we're between a rock and a hard place. It's not easy, to put a bus somewhere else, like on 87th Street on the other side, or even when we had to reroute the bus a couple of years ago, we sent the bus down 85th Street. We got some complaints about that. So it is a balance that we, transit tries to work on, not to overwhelm a neighborhood, that kind of thing, but also to offer the neighborhood's bus service. So, we appreciate you guys listening to our proposal, and we appreciate all your comments. And I don't know if there's anything.
No.
No.
Anthony?
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Melissa and your team. I think we have, sorry, Larry, I see you're muted, Larry. There you go.
No, if the bus runs on all these weekdays, the TA planning on extending it to the weekends also? Is it strictly?
Right now, I don't know. We're having other issues right now due to the pandemic, with bus operator availability and that kind of thing. So I don't think that there's any plan right now in the immediate or near future to make that a weekend service. People have asked for it, but right now I would say that that's not on the horizon for the near future.
Could say on Saturday and Sunday, the parking be open to regular parking?
Oh, yes, yeah, that's DOT. We're only looking for when the bus is running now, and DOT may limit us of when we can have that layover space, much like they did for the S79. I think we only have that, and Dika and Annalie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think we only have that like from 6 to 8 or 6 to 8:30 in the morning for the S79. They may do the same thing on the other, on that side of the street. So we'll have to see what they say, or, they could also come back and say no, so we'll see what they say, but we wanted to,
Food for thought.
come out and speak to you and let you know what we were looking to ask from them.
Right now, so right now it's a Monday through Friday request to DOT. They'll take a look at it. We can also ask for them to get back to us, and have DOT and MTA come back once they've investigated and inspected the area and come back with a recommendation.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Melissa. Thank you to your
Thank
team.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next up on our agenda tonight, we have some people from the NYC Ferry. So Shireen, I guess I'll throw it over to you.
Thank you. I believe my colleague Ratty Miranda will also be presenting. Ratty, are you here?
Hi, everyone. Thank you. And good to see some of you all again. It's
Hi.
been quite some time since I've come out here, but great to
Hi,
see you
Ratty.
all.
How
How are you?
Thanks for inviting us.
Good.
Great. Nice
Long
to see
time
you.
no see. Nice
It's
to
been a
see you.
while.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So Ratty, I'll let you take it off with the presentation and then I will add with mine in the end.
Okay. Sounds good. First, can you all still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Can you see the screen that I am now sharing?
Yes.
Wonderful. Let me see if I get this higher. I have like random things on my screen that don't go away, like this name Patrick Conway for some reason. So I have to like, but that's a thing for later. But first, just wanted to connect. And Shireen, I did put one of your slides towards the end. So if you want to add more after that, then we can talk about it too.
Yeah. Ratty, can you enlarge the view? We had a request.
Yes, let's see if I could do this here. Give me 1 second. Let me try to move this. View. Maybe this. That's a little
Better.
bit.
Yes, that's better.
That's
Well,
great.
let's see if I could even do the bigger one. I literally can't get to like this bottom part of my screen. Oh, maybe this. Oh, that'll do.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Awesome. Okay. So first, thank you all for having us today. I know you all have had NYC Ferry in the district for quite some time. So a lot of this is at least a service that you all are familiar with and utilize. We wanted to come today because we recently made some announcements and leveraged an opportunity to make some changes just to provide you all with some additional service that I know the community has been vocal about and has wanted for quite some time. So I'll walk you through what some of those are. So first, as an introduction, I'm Ratty. I'm with the NYC Ferry. I'm with NYC EDC, and I oversee our transportation initiatives on the government community relations side. And as you all met Shireen, she's with our operator at NYC Ferry. So I'll give you a quick overview of the system just to make sure everyone is operating from the same level of understanding. Then I'll give you some information around the route modifications, and then I'll let Shireen talk about some outreach. So first, this is a year-round service. It operates typically 7 days a week from about 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. On the peak periods when we have people going to or from work. We typically have boats out there every about 20 to 60 minutes, depending on the route and the season of the year. And the fare to get on NYC Ferry is $275, which matches the subway fare. You can't utilize your Metro card on this, but you can transfer once you are on the ferry system to another ferry for free. And there is a mobile app, which we'll also talk about later, but which is a safe and reliable way to understand when your next ferries are coming. So as you look on this map here, it is important, I'll point out now, the yellow line here, if you all can see my mouse cursor, which shows the Bay Ridge connection now, which goes from Bay Ridge up to Sunset Park to Red Hook, Atlantic Basin, and then over to Wall Street and continues north. This is the South Brooklyn route as it exists today, and as you all are used to it now. We are going to be making some changes, which I'll preview on the next slide here. So as the Coney Island route is set to launch later this year, we saw this as an opportunity to certainly, we will continue to serve Bay Ridge. I know a lot of people in Bay Ridge are excited about this change because it'll go Coney Island to Bay Ridge and then into Wall Street directly. So it'll really shorten that long commute on the ferry line by about 20 minutes or so. So, you know, it just makes it a much more expeditious trip for people. So it'll go from Bay Ridge into Midtown, into Lower Manhattan in about 25 minutes or so. So just note that. However, we are also adding, which is something that, you know, literally the day that we announced that the Coney Island route would come online and that this change would be made, a lot of people called and literally were like, Ratty, I'm very happy for this. It's a shorter commute. However, I still really like the ability to go on the local route, as some people would call it, but, you know, to make some of the other interborough stops.
Mm-hmm.
So weekdays and non-summer weekends, we are continuing to just do the Coney Island connection, which gets you into work, to and from work. I'll show that here. As you see, the yellow line no longer will come down to Sunset Park and Bay Ridge. So as you can see that here, it terminates from Red Hook and it'll go to Governor's Island. So far, so good. I'm gonna go to the next slide and show you another map. So I just wanna make sure so far we're caught up. Great.
Nick.
Awesome. On summer weekends, however, what we will do is continue to service, not just on the Coney Island route, we'll continue to serve Bay Ridge, but also on the South Brooklyn route, it'll continue to go from Red Hook down to Sunset Park and into Bay Ridge. So on summer weekends, you do have the ability to kind of, you know, go throughout the borough in ways that I know some people really enjoyed for leisure and for other purposes, but this opportunity still remains there. And additionally now, because of Governor's Island now has a shuttle from Red Hook into Governor's Island. So if you all are taking a ferry from Bay Ridge going up to Red Hook, and then you can get off and take a shuttle that'll take you directly to Governor's Island from there. Or you can do that from Wall Street if you so choose to, if that's your preferred mode so far. But those are really the changes that I wanted to make sure are on your radar, because for you all, it's just really additional service. You will continue to have the quicker trip into Lower Manhattan once the Coney Island route launches later this year. We don't have a specific, you know, date yet, but we only have 2 months left in the year. So sometime in the next 8 weeks or 9 weeks, I guess. And then just want to make sure that that's generally on your radar. And then from there, I'll switch over to Shireen and see if this is what she wants to show, or if you have additional things I can just flip off and then you can share your screen instead.
Thank you, Ratty. This is exactly what I wanted to show. So,
awesome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me speak today. My name is Shireen Ster-Ojalabi. I work with City Experiences, the operator of NYC Ferry. I'm in the Community Relations Department, and so I'm here today to talk about some of the outreach that our team has been doing in the community. So we have been doing a lot of on-the-ground outreach, and we really are trying to work with any and all groups that we possibly can to make sure that the information about NYC Ferry is well known. People know how to use the service, where the ferry goes, ticketing information, and also how to utilize the service to get to educational, recreational, or employment opportunities. And so when folks are walking out of their door to go to work or to explore the city or whatever they want to do, we want them to understand that NYC Ferry, we want them to know and understand that NYC Ferry is a viable transportation system that can get them to their destinations. And so some of the outreach activities that our team does include door-to-door and neighborhood canvassing. I'm sure some folks have seen me and my team members out in the community handing out flyers or talking about the Coney Island route and some of the initiatives that the ferry has going on. We do table at events. In fact, we are going to be at the Bay Ridge Fifth Avenue Bids Halloween and Open Streets event this Friday, presenting to community groups, similar to what we're doing here today. We want to make sure that information is available to all of our community members and they know how to use the service and are able to reach out to us if they have any questions. Supporting local initiatives and events. So we do offer sponsorships, support community initiatives with social media support, volunteering with our All Hands on Deck initiative. Our Captain in Kayaks program allows us to work with those recreational boaters and human-powered operators to get our captains inside those smaller vessels, such as kayaks and canoes, so they have the experience of what it's like to be in a small craft on board the water. At the same time, we bring those recreational boaters and human-powered boat vessel operators on board the NYC Ferry so that they're able to see from the captain's point of view what the harbor looks like and discuss safe waterway usage. And then we also support local school groups with ride-alongs, sponsoring tickets to get them to museums or to get them to other educational and cultural destinations. And last slide, Ratty. So we know a lot of folks in the Bay Ridge community already know about the NYC Ferry and are able to utilize the service. With that said, we want to be able to touch base with folks who are able to share information about the different community groups, events and initiatives that we should be taking part in, especially as we prepare to launch the Coney Island route. So thank you so much. If you have any questions for us, let us know. Ratty's information is there, and I'm going to put my email in the chat.
Thank you. Yes, I saw your other information. I think I just figured we'll give people one point of contact for this one, but yes, that'd be great if you could put it in the chat so folks can reach out to you. Thank you.
I will. Does anyone have any questions for Ratty or myself?
Yes. You know what, Ratty, if you could take down the screen share for a minute, just so we can see. I saw there was a few questions and hands raised. Doris, you had your hand raised?
Yes. Do you have any data on the amount of inter-Brooklyn usage? How many people use those stops? And I would be interested in seeing the current route and the proposed route side by side to see what we are losing. There's a gain, but there's also a loss, and I would like to be able to more effectively quantify it. And I would like some data on the current usage of those.
Yeah, so okay, so I'll talk more high level. I don't have specific stats in front of me, but I know when we made when the Coney Island route was announced back in 2019, January 2019, the proposal was at that moment to stop, and I'll make sure I share the screen again just so you have it, was to make sure that we switched Bay Ridge over to the Coney Island route, specifically because that would be a much faster commute. And our data showed that folks from Bay Ridge, the usage of people utilizing the route to go between the stops in Brooklyn was much higher on the weekends versus on the weekdays when folks are typically just trying to get to and from work as quickly as possible. So hopefully this incentivizes more people to utilize the route overall, because now it is a faster commute in. And then two, still encourages people to utilize that interborough service over the weekends.
But now there won't be any interborough service during the week.
So there will be on the weekend. So I'll show you.
I said during the week, and that matters to people. And you have no statistics to tell me what the usage is.
Right. So Ratty, so right now, if you're a commuter that is traveling from Bay Ridge to Dumbo, in the new ferry expansion plan, a Bay Ridge rider would get on at Bay Ridge, go straight to Wall Street, and then would have to transfer to get to Dumbo or Red Hook.
The Navy
That is
Yard,
correct.
Williamsburg.
Correct. Well, the route wouldn't have gone to Williamsburg or the Navy Yard, so those would have still transfers that
Release
would have
Dumbo.
needed to be made. But yes, on the summer weekends now, what you could do is either take this route all the way up to Dumbo or even out to the Lower East Side. Or if you get to Dumbo, you can certainly transfer over, as I mentioned, or Wall Street. As I mentioned, a transfer is free. So if you're there and you decide instead of going, to Wall Street, I'd rather go to Throgs Neck, you can certainly just do that as well. Does that answer your question? And I see Larry also asked questions.
Larry, yeah, Larry.
I know it was brought up some time ago that you ever thought of having a Bay Ridge to St. George Ferry? We've been out with it.
We've had
Before that ferry stopped running, and I think there's still unrealized demand to have to go directly. I mean, interborough route that's right across the water. What is
absolutely? So we certainly have heard that. I think what we're committed to now is what was announced back in 2019. So we are closing in on that. So we did launch that St. George route earlier this year in the summer. So that St. George route that you see here, wasn't there previously, right? So we are just getting started to our service in Staten Island. Now we're finalizing the work over in Coney Island so we can launch that route, and the work over in Throgs Neck as well, so we can extend the Soundview line over to Throgs Neck.
It's really not Throgs Neck, but that's Ferry Point Park is, not Throgs Neck's a little further east, but that's okay.
Yeah, correct. So it's
Whitestone Bridge is Ferry Point Park. Yes.
It's in Ferry Point Park. Yes. So we are, we're committed to that now. I think that's the work that we will do now through the remainder of this administration. I think there have certainly been a lot of calls for different areas of expansion throughout the city. So we look forward to focusing on that once we complete the work that is already outlined in front of us, and we'll restart conversations with that. After the laid out plan is completed.
And there used to be Sunset Park to Staten Island, and also there's some Bay Ridge to Staten Island as well.
We've certainly certainly a lot of interest in connecting Staten Island to different parts of Brooklyn, and even recently I've also seen a petition that was sent to us. So there's a lot of interest there. So it's certainly something that we'll look at once we are ready to look again at our system and figure out ways of expanding, optimizing, and making sure that things are streamlined.
And your headways are what? How are they?
Our headways
weekends, or is it you just mentioned 20 minutes, 60 minutes?
It varies. I think on the Coney Island route, it'll be, I think on both routes that would touch Bay Ridge on the weekends, it'll be somewhere in the 20 to 60 minute range for the most part, certainly over the peak, and then it'll trail off as we get into like deep winters, right? Like we're not running boats every 20 minutes if people are not riding it, right? So we tailor our schedule accordingly throughout the year. But certainly, if you download the app, that's probably the best way to keep track of the consistency and of the specific boats that make sense for you.
Doris, did you have? I was saying, yeah, Doris.
Yeah, and two questions. I'm pretty good at geography, but I have no idea where Corlear's Hook is. Could you give me a cross street?
You have no idea where Corlear's Hook is? I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Got it. So Corlear's Hook is up here. That's the Lower East Side by the I don't know if you've been so the Vladeck houses are by there. Remind me of it is Corlear's Hook Park, right? Like that's just the name of it there. It's a little bit south of
Grand Street,
south of that Stuyvesant Cove area or so.
Grand Street.
Grand Street, correct. Grand Street, yeah.
Grand Street.
And is there any connection to public transit there?
So
just buses. That's all.
Right. So there are similar to Bay Ridge. Part of the reason why we have the NYC Ferry system here is because it's disconnected from mass transit. There may be buses that serve along the corridor, but that don't meet the same needs clearly, right? But that is the purpose of NYC Ferry, is to be to serve people that are typically disconnected from train routes that would need to take a bus to a train, for example.
And I have heard from people that they're disappointed that there's no connection to ferries to the west side.
So yes, we certainly have heard that. I think we just expanded over to the west side. So, we've seen very good ridership there so far. So we are, as I mentioned earlier, focus on what we're expanding to now, and then trying to optimize and continue to work from there.
Great. Anybody else have any comments, questions, concerns?
What's the next step in this process?
So the next step is for us to launch the Coney Island route. So that'll really be the jumpstart to all of these changes, which, as I mentioned, should happen by the end of the year. So in the coming weeks, expect me to reach out to you all with like, hey, this is the day where this new schedule would start. That would get people on the Coney Island route, which means their morning commute would be much faster if they currently take the ferry into Lower Manhattan in the morning. And that the existing service would remain there on summer weekends, as I mentioned.
Could you send us some statistics on weekend, weekday, and weekday ridership from
Certainly.
the
So
favorite line?
when I follow up with the community board, what I'll share is the presentation I share now, and then I'll also share we publish quarterly ridership reports. So I'll share that information with you also, so that it's on your radar.
Thank you.
Anthony, we do have a question from a member of the public, former board member Jean Ryan. Jean?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I do.
My camera isn't on, but I am here. So I use a wheelchair. I actually got off the ferry a little more than an hour ago. I take it sometimes. And I'm a wheelchair user, and the 2005 law that talked about commuter ferries in New York City law said that we have to have a 4-point tie down for safety, a 4-point securement for our chairs, but there's only two securements, the front ones. That's all that's available on the ferry. You can't secure your chair in the back, and just securing it 2 places in the front doesn't do anything. That's like wearing a seatbelt that isn't connected, on the other end. So I had a meeting 2 months ago, or more than 2 months ago, with some ferry people. I don't know if it was you guys or somebody else. And they said they would look into it, but I haven't heard anything else in more than 2 months. But it's a safety issue.
No, I hear that for sure. And first of all, I appreciate you being a consistent writer. Second of all, I appreciate you sharing this. I don't know who you would have spoken to, but I'll talk to our ferry team, and I'll put on the screen my contact information again, just to make sure that if you and I can connect separately, that would be helpful. I just want to make sure that this information, that we actually follow up and that you get, an answer.
It was, they weren't from the EDC. Maybe the EDC was on it, but it was the actual ferry people.
Okay.
But
so that would be Shireen's team. So I'll certainly connect. If you can forward wherever that left off to me here on the screen, rmiranda@edc.nyc.
Yeah, I got it. Thank
Perfect.
you.
And then I'm on the EDC side, Shireen is on the operator side. So between us, we'll certainly get an answer.
Because I'm president of Disabled in Action. We're 51 years old, and we deal a lot in transportation and access and safety. And we were the ones who got that city council law passed, and we call it the ferry bill. But we actually have a member who was on the Staten Island ferry. Remember when there was a big accident on the Staten Island ferry and it rammed the pier or something years ago? Well, we have a member who became paralyzed on that. He was going to college on that ferry. And we don't want to have that happen if there's another accident. And, I know it's safe, but, you could still have accidents. We don't want to have another member, and I certainly don't want it to happen to me, that our chairs are not secure.
It's a very fair concern. So yeah, please follow up. If you can follow up with me, that would be great, just so I can make sure that we track
I will. I definitely will.
At the very least, get you an answer as to kind of either where we are, what we can and cannot do. I just want to make sure that we actually are responsive.
Okay. Well, the old ferries, before the new vendor took over, the old ferries had a 4-point tie down.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
It's just the East River Ferry, you mean?
Yes.
whatever it was.
14-ish?
However it started, they had a 4, because it only applies to commuter ferries, and it doesn't apply to the Staten Island ferry because that's something different. But any commuter ferries, because, people could foretell that there were going to be ferries. So there was a ferry, but I don't remember where it went.
Okay. No, that's helpful. Yeah, so please follow up with me. I would love to get you an answer and to
Tonight or
hopefully be able
tomorrow.
to solve this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. Thank you so
Because I
much.
love taking it.
That's awesome.
Everybody loves the ferry, honestly. I don't
Yeah,
think,
and,
yeah.
because if you have a disability, if I try to take the express bus, they tell me they can't get on, there's no room, they don't know how to use the lift. And Access-Ride, I have to book it the day before. So if I can possibly use the ferry, I do.
Great.
Yeah, hopefully this change is also helpful to you as it'll get you into Manhattan in about 25 minutes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Any comments, concerns, questions?
The St. George Bay Ridge release.
I would like to follow up on what Larry's saying. I know there's interest from Staten Island on a Brooklyn link, so I hope that will be seriously considered. Not an issue for tonight, but an issue going forward.
Keep it in mind.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Oh, Carmen. Yeah, Carmen. You're muted. If I had $1 every time.
You still-
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I use the ferry a lot in the summer when visitors and family come in, but I've never taken it in the fall or winter. Are the boats heated? Do they have heaters?
I can answer that question.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So I'm sure you've taken the ferry, so you understand that there's 2 parts. There's the enclosed area that is
Yeah.
temperature regulated during the summer. There's air conditioner to keep us cool, and in the winter there's heat as well to make sure that your commute is comfortable.
Okay.
Larry,
one more time.
No, have you ever considered, from a business standpoint, having like an all-day pass? You have since I know tourists are coming back to the city, it might be a good way to say for like $20, you could ride all you like on the ferry. Just an idea.
No, certainly that's certainly a good idea. I know our team had in the past looked at different pricing points and different ways to do things. I think right now the most conversations that we're having around pricing is just trying to figure out if and how we would work with Omni system that the MTA is rolling out. So certainly having conversations with them about, if it's just being able to put Omni on our ferries, or if there's some way to do a little more than that. So we're having those conversations now. So hopefully that's something that we can
I can use MetroCard, right?
by 2023. Yeah, right. As a
No
MetroCard.
MetroCard on the ferries, right? Or not yet.
Well, the
MetroCard, no
is
more
out,
MetroCard,
so-
right? Yeah.
Yeah, so
Whatever.
MetroCard is being phased out. So the next version of that, which is that Omni system that they're talking about now.
But right now you can't use it.
No.
Not
No,
now.
you cannot use the MetroCard, but you use our app, which is frankly quicker than a MetroCard for us. So
yeah,
and on the app you could just time your trip as well. So.
Great. So that is, if that is that all? I don't want to interrupt.
That's all.
Okay.
Certainly, that's all we have.
Okay. So then that I believe is that's the end of our meeting. So obviously we'll have
One comment.
any other comments or
Hey, Doris,
go ahead.
tomorrow night, Assemblywoman Matilda Frontis is having a Zoom meeting about pedestrian safety. And I have already signed up, and I encourage anyone on our committee who has any concerns that they'd like to see addressed to sign up to speak, to be involved in the meeting.
Thank you. I think an email went out about that too,
Yeah.
right? Right. Okay, good. So know that. So thank you so much to the ferry team, to the MTA. Josephine, if we have anything else, I think we're done. You're muted.
$2.
Because I had a board member call during the call.
there you go.
Yes. No, that concludes our agenda. So we just
Okay.
need a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Diane,
Motion to adjourn.
second.
I see lots of
Jean Marie.
hands.
All right. Thanks,
All right,
guys. Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Good night,
Thanks again.
everybody.
Good
Night.
job,
everyone.
Anthony. You're doing